if you would have told me 5, 10 years ago that I would have become a vocal defender of vaping, first of all, 10 years ago, I probably would have asked, what the hell is vaping? But 5 years ago, I would have thought you were crazy. But here we are. And we had quite a few conversations with the FDA and HHS during the Trump administration about vaping regulations, which have all now been rolled back under the Biden administration. And we talked about that with Brad. And we're going to talk about that now because it's putting a lot of small business owners out of work, out of business now around the country, even here in Ohio, and sending more people back to combustible cigarettes, which will wind up increasing the death rate across America. James Jarvis, our friend, former president of the Ohio Vape Trade Association, joining us now, along with Amanda Wheeler, president of the American Vapor Manufacturers. James, let's start with you. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, Scott. Hanging in there. How about you?
Good. So let's start by talking about the past year and a half. I know that you've had to shut a couple of your shops down. What's happened over the past year since President Biden took office?
There's been an all-out assault or continued assault on vaping, especially centered around youth usage. And we know just by looking at the National Youth Tobacco Survey results that youth vaping is down, and I attribute that to the small independent businesses that have really stepped up and cracked down on folks trying to buy for underage or folks trying to come in with fake IDs and purchase at the stores. This industry, the small businesses that we are, we're not the big tobaccos of the world. And, this is the livelihood for 20,000 shops across the U.S. And when we were set with a task to try to really help knock this youth issue out, the stores and the manufacturers really clamped down. And we almost became a barricade to the point where, the rates have dropped year over year now. And it's starting to show up.
The problem has not been with vape shops. The problem has not been with vaping professionals like yourself, where you're selling the liquids, the vape juice, the e-liquids, whatever you want to call them, and the kits. The problem has been with some of these vaping devices that are sold at convenience stores, at grocery stores, that aren't taking the time to ID who's buying those products, as you have done at these small, locally owned vape shops around the country, which have been operating responsibly. The other problem, in all honesty, has also been those liquids that were produced illegally in garages around the country that have the harmful ingredients in them. And yeah, we want to stamp those out, but we also want to help people use the vaping products to get off of cigarettes along the way and live a healthier lifestyle.
Absolutely. And that's what this whole industry is about. And I've said this many, many times. When I got involved with the industry back in 2008, I wasn't a smoker. I've never smoked. The reason I got into this was because I saw the success story that my best friend had with stopping smoking by using this product. And I just embraced it because I lost my grandmother at 16 to lung cancer. So for me, it was a way to really help, people like me at that point in time to really go out and maybe not have to endure the loss that I had to endure. And I did my research. I see the safety factors of this product. I know the ingredients that are in it, and the stuff you see out there with harmful chemicals and metals, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's paid for science. That's just garbage.
2.5 years ago, the Health and Human Services, the FDA, were close to stamping out and toughening regulations on vaping. We talked about that with HHS Secretary Alex Azar, and Amanda Wheeler, the president of the American Vapor Manufacturers, actually delivered that interview that we did on this show to HHS, apparently to their surprise. And from your efforts, you were able to get those regulations stopped. And as we talked about with Brad Parscale, Brad told President Trump at the time, look, you're not going to win re-election if you suddenly tell millions of vapors around the country that they're not going to be able to vape. And I think that had a big impact on the decision-making policy as well. But, Amanda, those policies were halted. Now they're back. How were they changed from President Trump's administration to President Biden?
That's right, Scott. In the Trump administration, this issue came up around banning certain types of vaping products. And, we were able to reach out to the administration and draw a distinction between big tobacco-funded products like Juul versus the products made by the small and independent businesses around the country like James and myself. And, the Trump administration actually stepped back and took a look at that, saw where the problem was coming from, and, crafted some finely tuned regulations to hyper-target the problem without harming the small and independent businesses and especially the jobs that those businesses provide. But since the Biden administration has taken over, Biden's FDA has done a complete 180. They've broken all the promises that were made to us about creating a federal regulatory process that would not create a monopoly for big tobacco. The Biden FDA has totally reversed course, created a special fast-track lane for review of big tobacco applications, and denied all of the rest of the small and medium-sized companies. It's been a total give-over to big tobacco under Biden's watch. It's been quite disappointing to see.
I want to talk about the jobs in a second because I think that has a major economic impact. Small businesses are the backbone of this country, and they're obviously affected by this, and you've got the numbers. But, Amanda, along the way, organizations like the American Heart Association, and I'm not setting out to be critical of the American Heart Association. They do a fantastic job. I was a board member for the American Heart Association just last year, and my father died of a heart attack at age 35. He was a cigarette smoker. But they were also, the Heart Association, among many other organizations, attacking vaping. Do they have it wrong? What don't they understand about the good that vaping could do to get people off of harmful combustible cigarettes?
They do have it wrong. They're chasing a boogeyman that doesn't exist. The science is very clear. It's settled on these products. Consumers are partaking in a tool to help them quit smoking that is at least 95% safer than traditional combustible tobacco cigarettes. And American Heart Association couldn't be more wrong on this particular topic. And we've got people out there that are tobacco control advocates that are seeing the science and seeing the potential of these products. People like Cliff Douglas, who was the former vice president of tobacco control for American Cancer Society, has come out and released a lot of wonderful work on this lately. What organizations like American Heart Association are getting wrong on this, and how this isn't the tobacco wars of the 90s. This is actually a very revolutionary product that's helped at least 6.5 million Americans quit smoking.
Amanda Wheeler, president of the American Vapor Manufacturers. You're also a small business owner yourself. James Jarvis, former president of the Ohio Vape Trade Association and a former business owner as well. Your business affected by the change in regulations, and unfortunately, a lot of other vape shops kind of see the writing on the wall under the Biden administration and are closing down. How many people are affected? How many jobs around the country affected by this?
Go ahead, Amanda.
Our latest number... Yeah, absolutely. So our latest numbers show that there are about 66,000 jobs around the country. These are good, well-paying jobs from locally owned businesses, job creators, tax-paying citizens, people that are working hard to do something good to help people. And those jobs are being steadily wiped out. Every day, practically, I hear about another vape shop that's having to close because of all of these draconian FDA actions.
James, is there anything that could be done differently at a statewide level? I mean, can the people of Ohio, can the people of Michigan do something with Governor Whitmer, or with Governor DeWine to change the way the state looks at and controls and regulates vaping?
As far as people in general, contact your legislators. Let them know what it's done for you. Let them know what it's done for your family member, maybe that you've seen use it, that used to smoke. We've been very fortunate enough in the state of Ohio to have great lobby representation down at the State House. We've had great people in the positions that need to be there to have some of the conversations on a higher level. But, when it comes down to it, building relationships at your local and state level is where the rubber meets the road. And they want to see, not only they want to hear the stories, but they want to see the person. They want to see, Scott used to smoke cigars or cigarettes, and now he uses, strawberry cream e-liquid. And they want to know how you feel, what it's done. Talk to your doctor. We're seeing more and more doctors come out now that are really changing their opinion of what this technology does for their patients.
You mentioned the strawberry cream, which sounds like a wonderful flavor. I'd be willing to try that one. Is the focus still anti-flavors? I mean, and it's been probably a year, James, since you and I talked about this. At the time, it was all about flavors and flavor control, and and the FDA and other organizations, well, you know what? You can have the tobacco-flavored vape. You can have the menthol-flavored vape. But if you're trying to get off cigarettes, that's the last thing you want to taste. You don't want to taste. You still crave the nicotine. That's absolutely true. And you're trying to wean yourself off the nicotine from combustible cigarettes, but you don't want to be reminded of the taste of a cigarette or a menthol cigarette. You're looking for these other wonderful flavors. You're looking for that chocolate latte flavor or the key lime pie flavor in a vape. And for whatever reason, the government said, oh, flavors are bad. No adults like flavors. It's only 12-year-olds who want to taste a cereal flavor. That's absolutely not right. In fact, I found myself, even though I'm still a cigar smoker and never smoked cigarettes, I enjoyed vaping for, first of all, the nicotine fix in the day when I couldn't smoke a cigar, but also because of the flavors. As a fat kid, being able to taste key lime pie was a wonderful little sweet treat in the middle of the day that didn't require me to consume 500 calories.
Right, and that's one of the things that we talk about. And the FDA has seen the research. We know that over 90% of the adult vapors in the United States use flavors. They don't use a tobacco, and they don't use a menthol. And what's really frustrating for us is the way that this whole flavor piece is being attacked by the FDA. If you look at what's happened so far since this pre-market tobacco application process has started with FDA, they went through it and basically denied 99% of the applications that were turned in because they were a flavor, but yet they'll turn right around and they've approved 4 closed system disposable type devices that are only tobacco flavored.
Manufactured by Big Tobacco already. It's because their lobby, their money is much bigger. James Jarvis, former president of the Ohio Vape Trade Association. Amanda Wheeler, president of American Vapor Manufacturers. Amanda, last word for you. What's next? How much life is left in the vape industry, do you believe, and what else can be done? We need to reach out to legislators, to the White House, to the FDA, and let them know how we feel, I'm sure.
Absolutely. There's a lot of life left in this industry because, the vast majority of us are former smokers that know that we are correct about the potential of these products and what they've already done for people over the last 10 years. And we're absolutely not going to give up on our customers, and we're not going to give up on our ability to help all of the people still smoking cigarettes that could be on a much safer product. And so, right now our fight is with the FDA. We are preparing to jump through their hoops. We're spending millions of dollars on these applications. We've had 43 companies that have sued them in court, in 11 out of 13 of the federal district appeals courts. We are winning the stays in those cases. Those courts are indicating we're likely to win on the merits because FDA has acted in an arbitrary and capricious fashion. And so we're going to keep bringing that fight to them everywhere we can, in Congress, at the FDA, with the White House, in court, any and every opportunity. We will be there to fight for our customers and for harm reduction.
You got a website that we can visit to find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. We're located at theavm.org.
Theavm.org. Amanda, thank you so much. James, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, Scott, I appreciate it. And I just want to leave everybody with one thought. With all these applications, the 4 that they have approved, they have said that vapor products is for the benefit of public health, but yet it's only tobacco flavors that benefit the public's health. Help me understand that and think about that.
Amanda, James, thank you both so much. Scott Sand Show.